ahead and get started here. I'm Tangie Cousins. I work with Foreclosures Daily. I have been with Foreclosures Daily for almost 20 years now. We've been in the business for a long time, and we help investors, attorneys, realtors, and just your basic first-time home buyer increase their revenues in their business and grow their businesses. We teach a lot of beginning investors to seasoned investors. We help beginning investors grow their income streams where they can actually put their JOB and get into full-time real estate investing. So we're so proud of that. We've had a lot of beginning investors start with us, and now they have like a whole team of acquisitions and sales people going on. So it's a great business to get into. This is my email address. If you do have questions, you can put them on the Q&A. If we get done with the presentation and you find lingering questions that you may have, you can also email me, Tangie@ForeclosuresDaily.com. It's on the bottom of the screen for your convenience. That's Tangie@ForeclosuresDaily.com. So anything you forget to ask during the webinar, please go ahead and shoot me an email, or you can text me at 863-698-3550. Somebody go ahead and put that in the Q&A chat. That's 863-698-3550 is my cell phone to text if you have any lingering questions afterwards that you think of. So who we are, we're a nationwide lead provider. We provide leads to investors, realtors, attorneys, like I said. And we've been in business since 2004. And since then, we've been the internet's #1 destination for the most detailed, timely, and accurate information. In a lot of ways, we're different. Is a lot of our properties have property appraisers data on them, like bedrooms, baths, type of property, just your basic information about the house. What's really we take pride in, though, is the fact that we are weekly and fresh, or daily if you're in Florida for the foreclosures, but everywhere we're weekly and fresh, and all farm for real estate, for things like probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, divorce. We take pride in the fact that we're weekly and fresh. A lot of companies out there are quarterly or even older than that. I think the quickest we've ever found was monthly, and they're not even farming for real estate. So it's so important that you understand that most companies that we have found are quarterly, and they're not farming for physical real estate. We understand the importance of having fresh data that's farmed for physical property. Now, here's some of the leads that we offer. We offer things like probates, pre-probates, inheritance, code violation, eviction, divorce. We even have customized leads like absentee owners, cash buyers list, free and clear. We can even do an investors who own like a portfolio of properties list. And that's really important for you, because if they're an investor and they own multiple properties, you could be targeting tired landlords, an investor like yourself who may be ready to liquidate their properties. So, I mean, that's a really good list too. So those are just some of the types of leads we can offer you. We can customize your leads for you too. Things like, let's say you want a homeowners list. A lot of them huge speakers out there are ordering like 50 and 75,000 leads from us for, let's say, a homeowner who've owned their home for 4 years or higher. You can do a specific amount of equity. You can do by age. There's all kinds of different things that you can do on the customized leads. So a lot of the things that I hear when people talk about investing in things like probate or divorce leads, or, foreclosures or stuff like that, are talking about people's fears. I'm not really sure I can do that. I don't know how, like I've never done it before. I don't know the process. And what we teach people, is it's okay that you don't know how. It's okay that you've never done it before. And it's okay that you don't know the process. It's as long as you can do your job, guys, it's really not as important to know their job. Let's say that you went and spent like $5,000 learning each of these lead sources. Let's say you wanted to get into probate and divorce, and you went out and spent $5,000 on learning the probate process and the divorce process. I think it's fair to say that all you will have taught yourself by the end of the day is how to go through your own divorce, or how to go through your own parents' probates for when they pass. And at the end of the day, that's not important, because like, let's say that I'm your neighbor and I'm out, let's say next door, I'm mowing my grass, and you realize that I have a property, whether I'm going through foreclosure, whether I'm going through divorce, whether I'm going through foreclosure, it doesn't matter. My situation doesn't matter. What matters is I have a property and I may want to sell it. So if you did go out and get that training and you came outside, your question's still going to be, so I was reaching out to you because I wanted to talk to you about purchasing your property. Do you guys have any interest in selling? At the end of the day, you're still at the mercy of them to find out, so when are you going to go back to court? When is the judge going to release your property? So at the end of the day, guys, that training will have done you no good to know that process other than take care of your own probate or for divorce or foreclosure per se. So it's really not important to know their job. What's important is knowing your job. If you want to go and spend $5,000 on training, train yourself on your actual position, which is marketing, answering the phone, running comps, visiting the property, estimating rehab and repair cost, putting an offer in, writing a contract. Those are things that's your job. So you need to teach yourself how to do your job, not their job. Because if you can buy a house, at the end of the day, it's just a homeowner who has a property that they may want to sell. So that's what I tell people, is, don't be scared in investing in a list that you don't understand or you've never done it before, because it's not necessary to get training for that. Let's talk about some hot leads that I want to focus on. We do have about 25 different types of leads, but I want to focus on some really good ones right now, especially during COVID. There's a lot of things going on with a moratorium and the foreclosures, moratorium on the evictions. And by the way, a lot of people have a misconception. They think during COVID that nobody was allowed to file evictions, and that's just not true, guys. If you read the laws and the regulations on the actual laws that they put out there for evictions, there's a lot of evictions still being filed, and you're totally allowed to still do evictions on some aspect. There's just certain ones that you couldn't do during COVID, just so you know. So those are really still hot leads, even hotter now that people thought you couldn't do them. So a probate, let's talk about probates. The probate is a legal process wherein the estate of a decedent is administered. When a person dies, his or her estate must go through the probate process, which is overseen by a probate court and or attorney. Probates by far are honestly some of the best leads you'll ever get. They have a lot of equity. They typically don't mind taking the discount, and they're very, very motivated to sell. People tend to be older when they lose their parents. They're typically 50 and 60 years old. They will almost always have their own home and will most likely want to sell their property because they didn't buy the property to begin with. They've got no skin in the game, guys. So you can usually get these for deeply discounted wholesaling prices. And all probate timelines are different. Each one of them will vary. It depends on the court, the judge, the state that you're in, all kinds of different things. And a lot of people have a huge misconception of probate. They think that just because you're in probate, nobody can sell their property to you. You guys, in most states, that's just not true. I just did several webinars with attorneys and even Kevin Sales, the guy that wrote the probate book that we mail to you every time you buy leads from us. And you're new, you get a brand new probate book called Probate Real Estate Sales 101. And even he tells people it's a good thing you don't have to wait for the probate to finish to take ownership of the property. And in most states, that's true, guys. In fact, I've never seen a state where it wasn't true. So in most scenarios, let's say there's a personal rep involved, and let's say maybe there's a summary administration or something that has to be filed. Once certain things are filed, you can take ownership of the property almost right away. And depending on whether they have full authority or partial authority, a lot of times they just have to get a quick permission from the judge to buy the property. Now, let's say that they bring an offer to the judge and you want to pay $85,000 for a property that's worth $140,000. The first thing the judge is going to want to know is, how much are you going to sell the property for? Well, I'm going to sell it for $85,000. Well, how much is it worth? $140,000. Well, why are you selling it so cheap? Well, because it needs a new roof, a new kitchen. He just signs right off, you guys, most of the time. And I had 2 attorneys tell me that back to back that I did webinars with. Usually they just sign right off, guys. They don't care. They just want it in and out of the probates courts as quickly as they can. It benefits the PRs, the family members, the judge, the heirs. It benefits everybody to get it in and out of the court systems as fast as they possibly can. And that helps them liquidate the assets and get that status settled, because a lot of times they need those funds. Now, let's talk about a probate and a pre-probate. A pre-probate basically means a person who's died, a death certificate has been filed or may not filed, and we have verified that they own real estate. That's huge, guys. So it's 1 week after the death, and we verify there's real estate attached. There's huge benefits to working a pre-probate list. Not only will you be first at the door, but if they inherit the property via a trust, you could buy now, no lines, no waiting. And guys, like I said, even if they didn't inherit the property via a trust, it's not the process that you think it is that you have to wait for. So, and sometimes these people may be able to sell their property right away. So no lines, no waiting, like I said. So there's huge benefits to working both probate and pre-probate. And the benefit is if it's a pre-probate, it's 1 week after the death. And if you get rid of the property beforehand or they inherit it via trust, they may never make it to the probate list at all. But most people do have to go through probate. So there's the benefit of working the probate lead, is if they do have to file, at least they've already filed and maybe closer to making a decision. So there's huge benefits to working both probate and pre-probate lists, and it's called striking the iron while it's hot, guys. That's really important when you market to things like this. Now let's talk about absentee owners. Those are some of those a la carte leads that we were talking about in the beginning of the webinar. An absentee owner is a non-owner occupied. It's a person who owns a property but typically does not live in the property full time. Could be like if you're in Florida, you could be a snowbird. You could live there part of the time. You could, half the year there, half the year up north if you're in Florida. Or if it's a absentee owner and they own multiple properties, of course they're going to own the property but not live in it. So again, you could be getting tired landlords, but it's a person who lives out of state or in state. And I recommend you an absentee owner in state and out of state. When you're dealing with out of state, you're usually dealing with snowbirds or a landlord. When you're dealing with out of state, you're typically dealing with, I'm sorry, I did that backwards. When you're dealing with out of state, you're typically dealing with snowbirds or landlords. But when you're in state, you're typically dealing with investors or landlords like that. So, they're both huge beneficial. If somebody's out of state, the chances are one of them is eventually going to get sick. It's usually older people that like to go back and forth, like from Florida to New York. One of them usually always gets sick and they usually can't maintain their property anymore. They end up not being able to travel or go back and forth. And they usually will pick the place that their family lives in. So the property in Florida ends up getting left behind and not attended, and people worry about that. So working out of state absentee owner is really lucrative, as well as working in state absentee owners. And those lists are very well. They're very good. They produce a lot of income for people. You could usually get those for deeply discounted rates as well, guys. Let's talk about the inherited list, because a lot of people get confused when we say we have probate, pre-probate, and inherited. And if you remember when I was talking about the pre-probates, we also mentioned the fact that if somebody dies and they inherit the property via a trust, they actually will not go through the probate process. So why would you want to work an inherited list if you're already working pre-probate, right? Well, because our inherited list will include family deed transfers, guys. Family deed transfers are really important. If a property that has been transferred from one family member to another family in the amount of $0, they will be really, maybe you want to sell that property, really motivated to sell that property. But the inherited list will not only include people who inherit the property via a trust, but it will also include people who will basically be able to, sorry guys, I just take a quick sip of water. If they inherit the property via a trust, they usually want to sell the property. It also includes completed probates. If you can have probates in the state that you're in, like states like New York, we just get like pre-probates in, but I don't say that to discredit pre-probates in any way, because it is one of our hottest lead sources. But like if you're in New York, let's say there may be no probates available in New York, we can pull pre-probates in New York. So if you purchase inheritance in New York, that's not actually going to include completed probates on the inherited list. So the inherited list will include people who inherit the property via trust. It'll include completed probates, as well as family deed transfers, a property that will transfer from one family member to the other in the amount of $0. Now, divorce leads are really good as well. Divorce leads is a legal dissolution of a marriage by a court or other competent body. It's when the divorce is filed, and we will verify, guys, that these have real estate attached. So there will be divorce leads who file divorce with actual physical real estate attached. Divorces are very beneficial. A husband and wife, let's say they've been together 10, 15 years and they file for a divorce. A lot of times they still live together too. So, you want to be very careful with your marketing. You want to address your letters to both parties. Usually on the divorce list, you'll have a plaintiff versus a defendant. And if they're still sharing the address, you obviously want to send it to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, because at that time they're still married. If they have separate addresses, you want to send it to both parties involved. So basically, divorce leads are really good, guys. A lot of times when they file for divorce, their property is the biggest investment that they made together. So usually that's the huge fight, is who's going to get to keep the house. So marketing to a divorce lead like 1 week after they file is huge to these people, because if they can do a marital settlement agreement and, cut out the attorneys like as much as they possibly can and not have to go through like a long contested divorce fighting over a property. And you can scoop in there and offer them a cash offer to take over ownership of that property right away. Sometimes you could be their knight in shining armor, and solve all of their problems from a 2-year long fight. So divorces are really good. List pendants are good. It's when a homeowner stops making payment on a mortgage. I know there's a moratorium going right now in a lot of the states. Some states I hear are lifting it in June 15th. Not sure if they're going to extend that or not. Not sure if your state's already extended that or what's going on. So check your individual states. But it's when a homeowner stops making payments on a mortgage. Their mortgage has a specific procedure that it must follow to take the property back. This procedure will differ according to the state and county in which the property is located. If a lender finds that a homeowner is in default on their mortgage of an outstanding debt, then the lender plaintiff has the right to file a lawsuit known as the lis pendens to take it back. A lot of times these people, they're upset, they're losing their home. Typically they have no equity, they're upside down. So you're usually looking at a short sale scenario. And we don't really do lis pendens outside of Florida, guys. If you are in Florida, we do them daily. But if you're outside of Florida, we're not even bothering with the lis pendens or foreclosures outside of Florida. We focus more on things like probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, divorce. To us, that's a more niche list. Guys, when you're working those types of leads, you're going to be working a small group of people. So you're not having to target hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are going after the same lead and fighting over the same lead that, that's in a really rough shape. When you target things like probate and pre-probate, code violation, eviction, divorce, inheritance, you're targeting a much better niche list of people who typically want to sell versus people who don't. People typically will have equity versus people who don't. You really want to target people who have a lot of money to play with here. So, if their parents leave them a property worth $150,000, a lot of people, a lot of times you can get these pennies in a dollar, guys, really, because these people are very motivated to sell. Now, how the leads can help you if you're an investor. Obviously, they're going to be able to help you get properties for wholesale prices, and how they can help you if you're a realtor, sorry, tongue twisted today. How they can help you as a realtor is they can help you gain listings and get investors and personal investing as well. If you're an attorney, this can really help you. The lis pendens can help you if you're in Florida. If you're an attorney, we have distressed homeowner leads that can help you. Distressed homeowner leads are really good. Back in the day, people used to know them as 30s, 60s, and 90s. Now we can't really sell just the 30s, 60s, and 90s by themselves, because we're protected against the Fair Consumer Credit Reporting Agency Act from anybody having our private data like our social security numbers or our beacon scores. So we do sell a list called distressed homeowners who will fit and fall under the category of people who are 30, 60, 90, and 120 days behind. It'll also fit for people who are behind in their credit card debt, like they're behind in a lot of credit card debt. They have late bill payers, low credit scores. So if you want 30s, 60s, and 90s and you're an attorney, to go after them to help file the lawsuits or to protect them from being sued and go after them for needing an attorney for bankruptcy or things like that, the distressed homeowner list will absolutely help you because it does include 30s, 60s, and 90s. But the thing is it doesn't say who is 30-day late, 60-day late, and 90-day late because of that law that's going on. If you're a mortgage broker, we can help you get refinances and loan modifications. We can also help you on your personal investing. And also as an attorney, by the way, this will help you on pre-probates 1 week after the death and a realtor too. Pre-probates are really good for realtors and attorneys because you're reaching them 1 week after the death, and it's typically before they've hired an attorney to do anything. So if you're a first-time home buyer, we have a lot of first-time home buyers that buy our leads, you guys, just to buy one property. And people will use a smaller subscription to purchase one property of their first home for a deeply discounted rates. Now let's talk about marketing, because this is like the whole guts of everything, right? So marketing is extremely important. Let's talk about a 6-step mailing campaign, because we do recommend at least a 6-step mailing campaign when you're marketing to certain leads, and we'll get into the certain leads in just a moment. But when you're mailing for a period of 6 months, which is best, you just want to do like every single month for the next 6 months. So like if you mail like, October 15th, this week's list, and you want to mail next month, you're going to do November 15th, December 15th, January, February, and March. You just basically want to do every single month. Now, let's say that you're on a tight budget, right? And you can't afford to do a 6-step mailing campaign. You can only afford to do it like a 3-step is the minimum we would tell you, So let's say that you can only do a 3-step mailing campaign. You want to do, we're using October, November, and December guide because I used these dates because I was happened to be in October when I made these slides. So don't wait till October to do your marketing if you're in May. I've actually had a person ask me that after a webinar, say, hey, Tangie, you know, it's only January. Do I wait till October to start marketing? And of course, you know, you don't want to do that, guys. You want to market right away. So whatever month you're in, you want to use May, June, July, August, whatever. I just use October for an example. So if you're going to do a 3-step mailing campaign, it's best to stretch it out as far as you can because marketing to people for a long period of time is what's huge and beneficial. Go Big Printing actually had statistics out. They said by the time you get to your 7-step mailing campaign, your success rate's like 80%. So, I mean, I don't know if those stats are still valid this year, but that's the stats they had last year. So it's like 70-80% success rates or response rates by the time you get to your 7-step mailing campaign. And I've heard a lot of people give stats about rates and mailing rates, and the longer you can market to them, the better. So if you can only afford to do a 3-step mailing campaign, so let's say you have October, November, you want to skip December and mail January. So you're kind of stretching that out into like a 4-step mailing campaign. Now, like the same thing, if you're doing a 4-step campaign, you want to stretch that out to 5 months. So you want to do October, November, December, skip January, and then do February, your last mailing. That'll be 5-month mailing campaign. So you've now just turned a 4-step into a 5-month mailing campaign. Take a picture of these slides if you want to. If you can only afford to do a 5-step mailing campaign, you can turn that into a 6th month by doing October, November, December, and January, all 4 months back to back. Skip February and mail in March, and now you've turned it into a 6-step mailing campaign. So you want to stretch your campaigns out for as long as you possibly can. I've heard of people doing mailing campaigns every 2 weeks. I personally think that's too much, but it's completely up to you. It's more of a personal preference, but we do recommend at least a 3 to a 6-step mailing campaign over the next 6 months if you can. Now, consistent marketing is key. Consistency and patience is key when you're marketing. The early bird gets the worm, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? You want to be first, but you also want to be last. It's just as important to be last as it is first, okay? Like you're first in the game, and like let's say we were talking about foreclosures earlier, right? Like everybody's marketing to, they're getting hundreds of pieces of mail a day, you know, and what's going to set you aside from being different than other people out there? You know, if I send a letter with 100 other people, why would I think they'd open mine? You know, so you have to go above and beyond and be that person that you want to be. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. You want to be in their face. You want to be like the commercials, guys, like Morgan and Morgan, we the people for the people. I mean, I'm not sure, you know, if what state you're in, but like if you're in Florida or Georgia, we all know who Morgan and Morgan is, right? It's an attorney firm, and they're on billboards, they're on the radio, they're in your mailbox, they're doing phone blasts, they're on the TV. They're just everywhere, guys. I mean, their marketing is absolutely ridiculous. It's through the roof. But you know what? When I need an attorney, guess who I call? Morgan and Morgan, because they're in your face. They're in your mailbox. They're on your phone. You're on when you market, you want to be real consistent with your marketing. You know, you don't want to limit your ability of reaching your seller. I can't stand it when I get somebody who says, oh, you know, I'm going to use this list and, you know, like I'm going to only cold call. My first question is why are you limiting your ability of reaching your seller? That just doesn't make sense to me because you're going all in, you're spending thousands of dollars training and reinventing yourself. And then you buy your list and you want to just limit your ability of reaching your seller by this much. You just want to put like this much into it. Let me just make a few calls and I'll see if that works. You don't want your foot partially in the door and your foot partially out. Don't limit your ability of reaching your seller. You're only hurting yourself by doing that. If you're going to go all out and spend $5,000 on training and $2,000 on a list for us for a whole year, and then you're just going to put a little bit into your marketing, you're only setting yourself up for failure and only giving yourself a little bit of a chance to make this work. That's what you're doing. So what I found is a lot of people put so much money into the training themselves that they don't leave enough money, enough skin on the bone to be able to make anything work for them. And they barely have any money to buy leads and marketing by the time they're done. So don't do that to yourself, guys. Don't do that to yourself. When you buy a list, the 2 top things that I recommend, and we recommend here at Foreclosure Daily, is cold calling and mailing are imperative, especially lists to like probate and pre-probate and stuff like that. You know, you want to be, it's hard to reach somebody by phone sometimes when it's a probate. Of course, somebody's died because some of your lists are going to come with PRs, which is personal representative name and address. Some aren't. If it's a pre-probate, it's never going to have the PR's information, guys, because there isn't any. They just died a week ago. So what do? You got to go above and beyond. You have to cold call. You have to market. You have to mail. You have to text. You have to SMS. If you're not in Florida and if it's not illegal, you got a ringless voicemail. You can do Facebook. There's all kinds of ways that you can reach out to these people. You can reach out to the attorneys. I mean, the property address, the mailing address, the attorney, the PR's address. I mean, the family members, the decedent, the family members of the decedent. I mean, there's so many ways of reaching your seller. So don't limit your ability of reaching your seller. Now, what we found, guys, is people limit their ability of reaching their seller because they have a limiting marketing budget, right? So what we did here at Foreclosures Daily, and I'll go into it a little bit more in just a few minutes, is we are going to be providing you with a lot of bonuses for buying leads through us. Now, some of the bonuses that we give you are hooking you up with companies that we refer, that have been vetted by Foreclosures Daily, that we refer to you, that we have found to be very good, that is offering to give you guys deeply discounted rates for when you purchase leads through Foreclosures Daily. These companies will give you deeply discounted rates for using them, like skip tracing services, mailhouse companies. I got the mailhouse companies to do deeply discounted rates for you and charge only 38 cents to send a postcard for you, and that's with postage. That's huge. A lot of people send the same kind of postcard for 99 cents. I also got the skip tracing company. We got to do skip tracing for you for 15 cents. They give you not only the decedent's phone number, but all the surrounding family members' phone numbers in the area too. So, I mean, there's a lot of good things that you're going to get with buying leads through Foreclosures Daily. So let's get into a few more things. A lot of people have a misconception about marketing, like, what leads do you market to for 6 months straight? Do you market to all your leads for 6 months straight? Absolutely not. There are some leads, guys, where you don't want to market to for 6 months straight. And here's why. Let's say that you're working an absentee owner, okay? And by the way, I'm in Florida. So my dad and my mom actually fit into the absentee owner category, okay? Because they own a property in Florida. It's not their homesteaded property. So it's going to fall into this list. And they actually live up in New York, but they only come down a few months out of the year. So they're going to be on this list. Would you want to market to my dad 6 times over the next 6 months? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Guys, absentee owner lists could be good for years, and I mean years, because just because they don't want to sell today, don't mean they're not going to want to sell 6 months from now or next year. But they certainly don't want to be blasted with 6 mailing campaigns over the next 6 months. So, I mean, there's certain leads that you do want to market to over and over and over, and certain leads you don't. So think about the lead that you're working and the process they're going through. That's what you got to ask yourself. What process are they going through? Probates, pre-probates, divorce, inheritance, list pendants, code violations. They're all going through a process that takes time. They could be in the divorce process for a year, 2 years. They could be in the probate for 6 months. Like I said, you don't have to wait that long to purchase the property, guys. In most states, you can purchase the probate property almost right away. I have a guy here in Florida, and people are working pre-probates. His name is Al Nicoletti, and he's closing people's probates in 5 to 14 days in Florida. 5 to 14 days. So, I mean, if anybody knows probates, it's him. So you definitely don't have, and by the way, you can go follow us on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Foreclosures Daily and watch the webinar that I did with Kevin Sales, who wrote the book, and then Sayles, by the way, and then Al Nicoletti. Look at those 2 webinars, watch them, because he's an attorney and he's like an expert. He's flipping awesome. So there's certain leads that you're going to want to market to for long periods of times, and these are the ones, okay? Probate, pre-probate, divorce, inheritance, list pendants, which are pre-foreclosures, code violations. Those are leads you want to market to for longer periods of time. Leads that you don't want to market to for longer periods of times are things like absentee owners, So tired landlords are a really good list too, but I don't know if you want to blast them 6 times over the next 6 months. Give those guys a break and do it every few months, but those lists can be good for years, guys. Let's talk about unique marketing techniques. Using unique marketing techniques will help ensure that your mail gets opened. Let's say that I'm in foreclosure and I'm getting hundreds of pieces of mail a day, postcards, letters. Guys, I'm just going to start throwing them away after a while. I mean, the first week or 2, I'll probably start opening all of them. But as a homeowner, I'm probably saying, like, you know what, I'm not doing this. If it's not a bill, I'm not even opening it. That's how upset I'm going to be. But you send me a piece of mail that has unique marketing techniques like this. Watch. Different sized and different shaped envelopes, such as wedding invitations, birthday cards, Colored letters, such as the yellow letters. Guys, yellow letters have been proven, tested, and tried for 20, 30, 40 years, and they're still today working really, really good. It's just a yellow letter, guys. It's on a yellow piece of paper. And you can do a handwritten letter. Those work really good. And putting them in different shaped envelopes, the handwritten envelopes, handwritten letters, special markings in certain statements on envelope is going to get your mail open. Let's talk about a few. These are some really cool ideas that I'm about to share with you, okay? Some bombs that I'm about to drop. Now listen, if you take the envelope and you flip it over and you write the word cash involved on the back, guess what? I'm not throwing that away as a homeowner, and I know you wouldn't either. If you get an envelope in the mail and it says the word cash involved, or it has dollar symbols on there, says the word involved, I'm going to open that. I have a guy who uses older people, like his mom's in an assisted living facility, and he has her and her friends, and he pays them, guys, to sit down because they have that shaky handwriting and handwrite his envelopes. So things like that are going to make you want to open the envelopes. There's another guy, and this is such a unique marketing technique. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. He has his school-aged children and their friends, their neighborhood friends, handwriting. After they handwrite their envelopes, he gives them to them and has them draw stick people, stick figures, trees, little houses, and dogs with crayons all over the backs of his envelopes. So, I mean, if you get something like that in the mail, you're going to open it. Lumpy mail, putting those little squishy balls inside of the envelopes. I know a guy who uses those little teeny worry dolls, like you get from going to like one of those restaurants. He orders boxes of thousands of them for pennies on the dollar. And it's so cheap and they weigh nothing. So they won't even weigh your envelope down so that you can feel something in the envelope and you're going to want to open it. I mean, those are some really good, unique marketing techniques that you can use. So let's see here. I want you to look at this for just a second. Study this. I have a guy who wanted me to critique his marketing, okay? And we asked him permission to use this, by the way. And this is real, guys. I just copied and pasted this to my slideshow presentation because I could not believe when I saw this. His marketing is he takes these little cards and he puts this in his letters. That's what it was. He puts these in his letters. Dear Mrs. Story, I'm having a hard time reading this, guys, just so you know, because it's just like the font he uses, I can't even read it. And when I critiqued his marketing, I basically told him to throw them out, 86, all of them. He does like a 4-step campaign. Dear Mrs. Story, selling your house has never been easier. As I discussed, well, hold on. What do you mean, as you discussed? This is your first time mailing them. So how did you previously discuss this? Did you have a conversation with them on the phone? If so, why are you mailing them? So, I mean, there's several questions I have to ask about the word as discussed. I can pay cash for your house and you pocket all the money. No realty commissions make for a sweet sale. There's so many things wrong with this. Number one, your preference and as discussed. You've never spoke to this person. This is supposed to be your first mailer, right? So you're not going to put that in your marketing. Number two, your font is ridiculous. You've used a font to where all of your words run together and I can't even read it, especially if I'm older, and if I'm in probate and it's my loved one that you're mailing in and I'm 80 years old, then I can't read that. That's terrible. Now you mail them again. This is your second mailing campaign. This is his second campaign. It's terrible. Dear Miss Smith, I am still interested in buying your house. As you know, I can pay cash, close quickly, and you don't have to pay a real estate commission when you sell your house to me. I don't like it. I don't have much to say about that, okay? But look at the third one. Dear Miss Story, I think that says quickly. Quickly selling your house can take away the strain of showing, believe it or not, this says showing it to a lot of people. I didn't think it said that. I thought it said showing it to 7,770 people. Isn't that what you thought? Or is it showing it to 7,990 people? I have no idea what that says, you guys, but I'm assuming it says showing it to a lot of people you don't know. Hold on. Do you know this person you're sending this to? Because I'm pretty sure they don't know you either. This is your third mailing campaign. And unless your first letter was true, that says as discussed, so maybe they do know you. And you're still sending them a letter the third time. Why? So, I mean, showing it to a lot of people you don't know, it can take away the strain of showing it to a lot of people you don't know, but they don't know you either. So there's a lot of things wrong, guys. When you look at other people's marketing, you have to ask yourself, is that something that you could read? Is that good font? Is that something that you'd I'm sorry. I just crack up every time I see this. And dear Miss Story, are you still interested in selling your house? Remember, I pay cash and close quickly, and you don't have to do repairs or pay realty fees. I can't even read the rest. I think it says something is a winning recipe. That is a winning recipe. But guys, don't do this, okay? You got to think smart when you're doing. Look at this. Isn't this nice? This is my letter. The reason I am contacting you is I understand there may be a property for sale. If there is real estate for sale, I would like to buy your property. I can close fast cash as is in less than 30 days. Hey, you can even leave the unwanted items in your house. You don't even need to clean, update, rehab, or repair the property. I will buy the property just the way that it is. If this sounds like something you might be interested in, please contact me back immediately. Guys, when you market, you don't want to talk about their situation. Why would you bring up a negative situation in your marketing? Don't talk about the probate. Don't talk about somebody that died. I had another person, him and his wife wanted me to critique their marketing. And his marketing started out like this. My deepest condolences of your recent passing. My wife and I are working on a residual income for our retirement. Oh, don't do that. Do not do that. You're immediately bringing up something negative in the letter. So when they go to the mailbox and they open it, you brought up a negative feeling in the human. So they're immediately going to be upset. Immediately, you're bringing up something negative. Why would you want to do that? Bring up something positive. I can close fast, cash, as is, less than 30 days. Hey, don't pick up, don't clean, don't rehab, don't repair. Walk through the house with a box. Take everything you want, leave the rest there. I'll handle everything else. Guys, they don't know that. You think they do, but they don't. When somebody loses a parent and they're ignorant to probate and the whole process, like I was 20 years ago, I would be looking at this going, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to sell this place for at least 6 months. It has the whole horse and buggy wallpaper, the paneling. I mean, it's got the old pink tiles on the tub. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to redo this whole house and have like 9 yard sales and 6 furniture pickups from the Salvation Army and, Humanities for Rehab, whatever. It's like, guys, you don't want to overwhelm them with negative emotion when they open your letter. You want them to see positive things. They don't know as a homeowner that you will buy the property the way that it is. They think in their head they got to fix all this before they can sell it. They got to empty the house before they can sell it. It's up to you to educate them. Hey, you don't have to do this. No, did you know most people can actually sell their property right when the probate process starts? They don't know these things. It's up to you to educate them. Okay? So, I mean, just think about the letter when you're walking to your mailbox, things you'd want to hear people say, So, do's and don'ts of marketing. Never talk about their unfortunate situation. Find solutions, fix their problems, overcome their fears, and address their concerns. Those are the things that you want to do. You don't want to talk about anything negative. The only time you ever want to bring up something in your marketing. Greg, I see you raised your hand. I don't answer raised hands. So if you want to just put what you want in the Q&A, I'll get to it as soon as we're done talking. So you want to fix their problems, address their concerns, find solutions, and never talk about their unfortunate situations. So things that you want to do in your marketing are only going to be positive things. And the only time you want to talk about their situation is if you send a generic piece of marketing. Hey, if you're facing foreclosure, you're facing divorce, you're facing probate, you're going through this, or you're getting code violations. I can help you with all your situations. If you need me to help you pay an attorney, start the process for you. Call now. Those are the only times you ever want to talk about their negative situation is if you're doing generic marketing like that. So here's another one. To the family members of John Smith. Hi, my name is Jane Doe. I'm a local, and this is a realtor letter, guys. This is a really good realtor letter. I don't know that I do to the family members of John Smith, but what you want to do is just do to the Smith family. This is my letter, guys. I wrote this for a realtor and it worked really good. She got like bam, bam, bam. She got like 3 listings in 2 weeks. Love the letter. But now I don't like the family members part. I like it when you say things like to the Smith family. It just sounds better. Hi, I'm a local realtor with RE/MAX. I would like to help you sell your property at Smith Avenue. If you would like to sell your property or just know the value of your property for free, call me. I mean, as a realtor, you're going to get a lot of hits from this. The first thing people want to know when they're going through divorce is, what is their property worth? The first thing they want to know when they get a property from probate or inherit is, what is it worth? I mean, you as a realtor have a huge leverage on this, because you can help them know the value of the real estate. And a lot of the investors are so savvy today, they usually have a realtor right in their back pocket. So here's a guy that does a 3-touch campaign. And guys, the national average response rate to marketing is like 0.5 to 1.5%. He literally has people doing his marketing for him. I'm sorry. And he's getting like 10 to 15% response rates from this marketing. He does a really small index card. He goes to the dollar store, buys little index cards that don't have any lines or anything on it. And he just writes out, I'm interested in your property on 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever street. If you're interested in selling, call me. That's all he writes. He's getting 10 to 15% response rates on this little card. I sent you a letter about a month ago. That's what a lot of people want to know. Or I sent you this about a month ago. He puts another small card in an envelope. And he says, I sent you this about a month ago, expressing interest in your property. Have you considered selling yet? If so, please call me. If they don't respond by then, he sends a 3rd touch. Hi, we are a local investing company purchasing properties in a few select areas. If you want or need to sell your home, if you know that somebody that may, please give me a call. So he went from being just John Smith to an actual investing company. So he's tried several different tactics here. If the first 2 tactics don't work, he moves to the fact that he's a professional business now. Okay, so a lot of people ask questions like, what should I put in my 2nd one, in my 3rd one, in my 4th one? Just reference the first 3. Hey, I sent you a letter about a month ago. Hey, I sent you a letter a couple of months ago. Are you ready to sell your property yet? And you can even do final notice, last warning, something like that. That's real catchy too. So, I mean, he does this and it gets him a 10 to 15% response rate. So why investing in today's market is still good. Foreclosures and distressed property sales account for nearly 25 to 50% of all real estate transactions. Guys, I'm going to skip over this because we know there's a moratorium going on right now. A lot of things have happened since COVID. It is a seller's market right now. We know that. People are getting way more than market value for their homes right now. So I really don't want to get into this foreclosures right now. Because honestly, the key to making a good investment today is probate and pre-probate, hands down, all day. Those niche lists, when you work probate and pre-probate, you're going to work a small list, but you're going to yield a much higher return because you're targeting people who want to sell versus people who don't. There are several exit strategies too when you get a property that are working really, really well in the market. Wholesaling is quickly flipping a contract to another investor for quick cash without expending any of your own money. I can tell you right now that there are so many investors today that have no idea what they're doing as a beginner, and they all just shoot right to wholesaling because the seasoned investors out there are taking those properties off of their hands like hotcakes. But here's the mistake that you're all making as beginning investors. The mistake that you're making is not knowing how to properly estimate rehab and repair value of the home, not knowing whether it's on a sinkhole, not knowing if it needs a new roof. These are big fixes, you guys. These are not little mistakes. It's different when you miss, oh, hey, it needed a new piece of drywall here, or it needed a floor over here. But when you miss a roof needing to be replaced, or the fact that it's sitting on a sinkhole, or the fact that, there's cracks in the foundation, which are the sinkhole, if you're missing big things like that, you're going to really upset some people. So my suggestion to you, if you're going to use an exit strategy for wholesaling to get out of the properties and get wholesaling in and out of the properties, a lot of the ways to invest today are wholesaling. If you're going to use that as a strategy to get in and out, you need to know and learn how to run comps, estimate the rehab and repair value properly, so that when you go to, let's say, a RIA meeting, the first thing you're going to do when you walk into a RIA meeting is you're going to start meeting seasoned investors. Guess what, guys? Those seasoned investors are going to be the people that are going to be your bread and butter. If you're sitting on 3 properties that you have signed contracts on, the first place you want to go to is your RIA meetings, and stand up and say, I've got 3 properties, one over here on the north side, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, needs about $10,000 of lipstick. If you mistake that for really needing $30,000 or $40,000 of lipstick, and then you go to close, and that investor and seasoned investor goes over there and finds out you made a $15,000 mistake, guess what? You've just soiled that relationship. And they all go to McDonald's on Friday morning at 7 a.m. together and sit down and hang out, and they're all talking about the bad deal that you gave him. So, I mean, the last thing you want to do is soil your relationship with your seasoned investors inside your RIA groups, okay? So be careful when you're doing wholesaling. Retailing. Retail buyers are coming back into the market because of the historically low mortgage rates, price appreciation, and tax credits that are being offered. So, and you know, like I said, it's a seller's market right now, guys. So people are selling like hotcakes right now. They're not having any problems getting rid of their properties at all. But let me talk about lease for a second. Many would-be buyers who currently have very poor credit, but have a lot of cash down for a down payment. This is a lot of people today, guys. This is a lot of the kids in the market today that are 20 and 25 and 30 years old. They have a lot of money, but no credit when they're coming fresh out of college. Lots of money, no credit. So the first-time home buyers don't have any credit. They can't get a home. And now what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to find a lease with the option to purchase. But they almost always just get into your place. They act like they want to buy it. They sign your lease. They're so excited because it's their only option. 4 years down the road, 2 years down the road, their credit's better. Guess what? They don't want your house. They just wanted it at the time when it suited their needs. Now you've got a lease option. They put $10,000 down on your property. Now they're ready to move out. Guess who gets to keep the 10,000? You do. And you can turn around and do it again and again and again and again. So lease with the option to buy is an excellent strategy right now, guys, when you get properties. Rentals, if you buy right over the long term, this is a great cash flow strategy where you can reap annualized returns of up to 20% per year or more. So those are some great exit strategies. Let me go over some testimonials that we have. There's a local girl that her name is Amanda Young, and she actually won a free month of Foreclosures Daily, which, by the way, we would never give anybody a month anymore, because a lot of people when you give somebody something for free, they don't take it seriously. So we don't do the free month of the RIA events anymore. We give you a book now for giveaways, but let me explain to you something. Amanda is the exception to the rule because she won a free month. And what she did with this free month that she won, she turned it into like 5 deals. It was ridiculous. She won a free month at the RIA event in Tampa. And then she went on to purchase the property. She had it under her belt, and the only time she'd ever bought a property was from a realtor. And she had an actual job that she worked at full time every single day for many, many years. And her goal was to invest in real estate full time. And if you look up Amanda Young on Facebook, you will see that she currently invests full time, and she does it every day, all day long. She has several partners, and she specializes in buying sinkhole properties and all kinds of awesome things since her free month years ago. And if you reach out to her, Amanda Young on Facebook in Florida, she will tell you that she won a free month at Foreclosures Daily at a local RIA meeting. And at the time, she only had one rental property, which she purchased off the MLS. So mailing letters to her was very foreign. But with the help from Tangie Cousins and Foreclosures Daily, using my standard letter that I showed you in the middle of this presentation, she mailed them out, received a call, made an offer, closed on her first probate deal within the first month of having leads, guys, within the first couple of weeks. And she used the profits after, by the way, she rented that out for a year, and her renter wanted to buy the property. She used those profits 1 year later and turned it into a 1031 exchange and bought 2 more investment homes. And now she's quit her job, and this is what she does for a whole living. So, guys, it works. It's proven, it's tested and tried. You just have to listen to us and do what we say to a T, and reach out, and don't limit your abilities to reaching your seller. And it's like a 99.999% chance you're going to be successful. Now, we talked about some bonuses that we give you here at ForeclosuresDaily.com for purchasing leads through us. Some of the bonuses that we will give you here at Foreclosures Daily are we'll give you access to some skip tracing companies that will skip trace your leads for you for 15 cents and not only yield you the phone number for the decedent, the PRs, they'll also give you the multiple family numbers, phone numbers, no additional charge. And for 15 cents, they'll do all of this for doing skip tracing for you. The mailing house company that I recommend is Go Big Printing. They're awesome. I will give you a special code. I'm going through these fast because I don't want you to, I don't want to lose too much time here. So I want to talk about marketing more. Now, don't worry, when you buy the leads from Foreclosures Daily, you'll get all this in an email. So don't worry. But I give you access to Go Big Printing, and there's a special code on the end of it that's going to take you right to all my postcards. And you'll be able to mail these out for 38 to 42 cents, and that's with postage. You know, there's companies out there like apps on your phone that you can download on your phone. And they'll actually send out postcards for you. But guys, they charge 99 cents for this postcard. 99 cents. I got Go Big Printing to match, to do the price for match the same kind of postcard for 42 cents with postage. That's 60% cheaper that Foreclosures Daily is going to save you for mailing out a postcard with a picture of their house. Hey, is this your house? Are you selling this? Question mark. I mean, honestly, that postcard yields excellent response rates, you guys, and it gets people, hey, by the way, oh yeah, that is my house. I just inherited it. Or yeah, absolutely, you know, I'm going to sell this property. So just kind of send out that postcard. It's only 42 cents with postage. We have some generic ones, kind of like this one without the picture. That's only 38 cents with postage. I also give you access to letters. They will do a handwritten font letter for you for literally 64 cents, and that's with postage. That's 64 cents with postage. And by the way, on their postcards, the minimum's only 50, which is so low, it's ridiculous. They did that for us. And on the postcards, the minimum is 50, but the letters, the minimum is 200. Now, some of the bonuses you're going to receive is a 6-step mailing campaign, which I showed you on the slide, the 6-touch campaign, which is telling you what to mail first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. You'll get a phone script on how to negotiate with a seller on the phone. It's actually wrote by the cash flow guys. Larry Harville and Tyler Sheff wrote that. It's a phone script on how to negotiate with a seller. It's called the Cash Flow Cheat Sheet, and they have a podcast called the Cash Flow Guys. I give you a phone script on how to speak to the attorney, an email to send to the attorney expressing interest in the said property. I give you a phone script on how to speak to the people who answer the decedent's phone. I also give you a phone script on how to speak to the people who answer the family member's phone. I also give you postcards, letters. We mail a probate book right to your property called Probate Real Estate Sales 101. The author is Kevin Sayles, Sayles. He also did a webinar with us teaching these 7 ways to make money with probate real estate investing. I will share his webinar replay with you. I also give you the link to receive the reduced mail rates and the reduced gift tracing rates. Now, before I go over all of this, I want to do a new share with you. This is what it looks like when you go to probates, when you search probates, okay? You search the probates for, let's say, Hillsborough County. I'm using Hillsborough because I'm right by Hillsborough, Florida. Let's say that I don't want to do last week because I don't want to cheat. My subscribers pay for this data. So let's do January. We'll do some older data. And by the way, guys, older data works really good. You search it. So every week you log in here, guys, to get your data. Every single Wednesday, brand new, fresh data, exportable right to CSV or XLS or even the mailing labels. So every Wednesday you log in, you get no more than 25 leads a week per list: probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, divorce. The reason we have a cap is because we have to know what to charge you. Now remember, people think there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who own real estate that die with property. That's not true. Only like 7 to 10% of the people that died actually physically own real estate. So there's not a lot more than 25 leads a week. Some counties only get 15 or 20 a week. Hillsborough's a bigger area, so Hillsborough and Pinellas will probably always get 25 a week. But you're going to get the decedent's name, the address, that's the property address, the legal description, the mailing address. Look, not all probates are going to come with PR. PR stands for personal representative. That's the person who now has control of the estate. It is their job to liquidate the assets and settle the estate. If your list does not come with PR, name and address, it's not a big deal, and don't make it one. The pre-probates never come with PR's information. So how do you get a hold of them? You mail to the property. People are 50 and 60 years old when their parents die. They're usually responsible enough to check the mail. And even if they can't check the mail, they can have it forwarded for 6 months to a year after the death. Did you know that? 6 months to a year after the death, they can have that mail forwarded. Oh, and by the way, if they're not checking the mail and they're not having it forwarded, is that a person you really want to deal with? No, I don't think so. If that's how they're going to handle their parents' estate, the biggest investment they ever made in their lives that they pass down to their children, that's not who you want to deal with, guys. Trust me. So if for some reason your list doesn't come with PR, You just mail it right to the property address where the house is where everything's being handled. People are typically going over once a week, checking the mail, mowing the grass. If they can't check the mail themselves, they'll have their sister, their brother check it, friend, whatever, or they'll have it forwarded to them, but there's the PR name and address on the probate. Now, no phone numbers, guys. None of these lists are going to come with phone numbers, okay? So you have to skip trace. A lot of them are going to come with attorney's information. If it's a probate, if it's a pre-probate, no attorney information. Guys, I had the attorneys do the webinar on Foreclosures Daily webinars on YouTube. And they even said a lot of times they can't answer the phone if you call them expressing interest in the property. But if you shoot them an email, and you're lucky because like Hillsborough comes with attorneys' emails, but like Pasco might not. You know, Pinellas might come with attorneys' phone numbers, but Pasco might not. You know, you don't know. So I mean, whatever you get is what you work with, okay? So, but here is the attorney's emails. Guys, this is huge. And I mean huge. When you reach out to the attorney expressing interest in the phone and they don't answer you, several of the attorneys told me that they will forward your email right to the PR if you email them. So I made an email for you on your bonuses, wrote out to the attorney expressing interest in the said property and any other property they may have. So reaching out to the attorney is imperative, okay? Because a lot of times they can't answer the phone, but they will forward your email right to the PR, expressing interest in the property. And your job is also to build a relationship with the attorney, because guess what you have? You have an attorney that does probate, right? So if you're working pre-probate, they can help close your probate, right? Or if you're not in Florida and you can't use Al Nicoletti. But so when you reach out to the attorney, you're doing three things. You're reaching out to them to get them to get the message to the PR that you want to buy the property, to try to make arrangements to buy the property. You're reaching out to them to build a relationship with them so they'll start sharing their probates with you. And you also want to build a relationship with them in case you're working pre-probate and you want them to do the probate for you. Now, a lot of these attorneys, if you pay them a small fee, they will start the probate process for you and not charge you the rest until closing. And then you can take the fee out right from the homeowner. So if you offer $80,000 for a property and it costs $2,000 to go through the probate and you had to pay the attorney $500, take the $2,000 at closing right from the homeowner and give him $78 for the property. Works out really well. I had a guy do that and he offered to help pay for the people's probates and he sent marketing out offering to help pay for the people's probates. He got 5 wholesale deals in just a couple of weeks from doing that, guys, because you can offer to help pay for their probate if they're in pre-probate. Now, here's the pricing. Now, this pricing does not include all the list. It only includes one of them. So if you want probates for 3 months, which is 12 weeks, that's $599. That means you're going to get new leads every single Wednesday for the next 12 weeks. If you get 26 weeks, it's $999. So it saves you $200 and you're going to get new leads every week for the next 26 weeks of one of these leads, one of these lead types, no more than 25 leads a week. If you get a year, we do recommend a longer commitment. If you make a longer commitment, you're going to save money and we're going to throw a free county in. Check it out. Anybody who buys between now and Friday, the owner said we can give a free county away for anybody that buys a 6-month, which is a 26-week, or a 52-week program. If you buy the 12 weeks, we're not going to give you a free county. We want you to make a longer commitment. Why? Because as human beings, when you make a longer commitment, you're more serious about it. You make a longer commitment, you're working it longer, stronger, harder. So it produces success. So you have time to see success. It slows you down so you don't fail. You know, when you're in a rush, you tend to fail and rush things. When you use only a 12-week commitment, you're using it for 10 weeks and you're having to make a decision the following week if you're going to renew. That's too soon to be making that kind of decision. So you end up, if you haven't gotten like many calls after just a few weeks, you make the decision not to renew. It's nowhere near time enough to make a decision like that. So making longer commitments helps. Now, so it's $599 for 3 months, $999 for 6 months, $1,750 for a year, one county, one list. And every time you add a county, could be in a different state. I don't care if you have 3 states and 2 counties, whatever, 3 counties, could be anywhere. It could be, you could have 1 county in Florida and your other county could be in New York. It doesn't matter. So it's half off for each additional county. But by Friday, you get a free county for anybody who purchases a 6-month or a year. A la carte leads is like absentee owners, free and clear, tax slates, cash buyers, investors who own a portfolio of property. Those leads are $1,000 for $500. Why are we expensive on those? because I'm not going to be like all the other list companies out there and sell them for 3 cents a lead. Do you know why? Because I didn't buy 20,000 leads and dump them into my database 10 years ago. And I'm not letting hundreds of investors filter through them. And 20 years ago, they were absent. I'm not doing that. I'm not buying hundreds of thousands of leads for absentee owners and dumping them into our database 15 years ago and calling them absent today. Because guess what? They're gone. They've died. They're not absentee anymore. They've sold the house. That's what you get for 3 cents a lead. I sell ours 1,000 leads for $500 for our absentee owners, but you bet your sweet cherry on Thursday when we pull those 1,000 leads, they're going to fit that category that we pulled on Thursday. They will be absent. Okay, that's a difference. Now, if you order longer, like more, like let's say that you want 5,000 leads, I'm not going to charge you 50 cents. I could do 5,000 for $17.50. If you want to order 10,000, I could do it for $2,500. I have some top-notch investors, and I won't mention names, that I said earlier, they'll buy 50,000 for 15 cents a lead. I'll sell them for 15 cents a lead if you buy 50,000. So, I mean, guys, that's it for my presentation as far as this. But I'm going to open it up for some Q&A because I do have some questions on here. Let me just go ahead and get through these. So go ahead. Now is the time to ask questions. So, all right, guys. Let me just dismiss these questions. All right. Is it difficult to buy property insurance for a probate property? You know, I don't know the answer to that. You'd have to call the insurance company, Joseph. I'm so sorry. If anybody knows the answer to Joseph's question, he wants to know, is it difficult to buy property insurance for a probate property? Well, first of all, is it your probate property? Because you shouldn't be buying insurance on somebody else's probate property. If you've taken ownership of the property, then it's not a probate anymore, right? So I'm not really sure on that one. Hi, Tangie. How would we be able to market to pre-probates if the personal rep is not established? How do we know who to market to? Okay, perfect question. We did go over this, but let's go over it again. Pre-probate, you're only going to have the decedent's name and address. Sometimes the probate, you're only going to have the decedent's name and address. Some probates do have the PR's information though, like Hillsborough does, but like I said, Pasco might not, you know. I'm not saying Pasco don't, I'm just using that as an example, guys. Don't expect all probates to have PR's information. PR stands for personal representative. A lot of people think they have to have it. Send a letter or a postcard to the property, to the Smith family, expressing interest in the property. It is very much their job to check the mail, liquidate the assets, and settle the estate. And 9 times out of 10, more than not, people are driving over once a week and checking the mail. Listen, when you die, your parents are fit, when your parents die, you're like 50 and 60, 70 years old. You're going to do the right thing. You're going to take care of the house. I'm 49. When my parents pass, I'm going to do the right thing. My dad lives in Florida. I'll probably drive over once a week and check his mail. My mom, however, lives in New York. I can't drive there. What am I going to do? I'm still going to be responsible. I'm going to have my sister check it. And if I couldn't, I'll have it forwarded to me. But one way or the other, I'm going to handle that mail. And a good skip tracing company that I'm going to give you access to when you buy the leads deed is a skip tracing company that's going to give you the phone number for the decedent, which, by the way, most people have family plans. So would you agree that most of the time the phones are still being answered by other family members? And even if nobody's answering the phones of the decedent, a good skip tracing company will also give you the surrounding family members' phone numbers in the area as well. So that's what I recommend. Is I recommend you reach out to the actual decedent in the actual decedent's address, and you skip trace the decedent. And a good skip tracing company, again, will also give you the surrounding family members' phone numbers as well. So that's to answer that question, Dee. I hope that helps. Are leads exclusive to me? Guys, I'm not going to sell my leads to you and have you tie up Pasco County for the rest of your life that you use our leads, because we wouldn't be in business to help you if we sold our Pasco County to only one person. Here's what I can tell you. Probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, divorce, not a lot of competition. This is not foreclosures. Like foreclosures, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of investors are told to go after foreclosures today. So you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people all going after the same type of lead and toppling over each other. You don't have that with probate and pre-probate, guys. The competition is very minimal. If you asked me how many subscribers I had in Pima County, Arizona, I might have 1, 2 probably at the most. If you asked me how many subscribers I had in Hillsborough, I might say 6 or 7. I might have a little more. You know, I mean, the competition is going to be higher in bigger areas like Hillsborough and Pinellas, but not very much in Polk. And you know, you have a handful of people using the leads, competing with you, and they could be using 10 other companies, and you could be using me. Guess what? I'm going to beat them because mine are weekly and fresh. Mine are farmed for real estate. Theirs are 3 months old and they're not farming for real estate. You're going to end up marketing to 300 people and only 15 are going to have property with the other companies. I'm only going to give you the 15 that have real estate. So I hope that answers your question. Is the 30, 60, and 90 list for all states? Well, first of all, we don't have a 30, 60, and 90 list. We have a list called distressed homeowners who will have inside of that list people who will be 30, 60, 90, and 120 days behind on their mortgage. But it will also include people who are also behind on their credit card debt. It'll also include people who are late paying their bills. It'll also include people who have a low credit score. It's just a distressed homeowner list, 1,000 leads for $500 of people who are going to fit one of those categories. So there's going to be a couple hundred that are late on their payment, a couple hundred that are late on their house, a couple hundred that are late on their credit card debt, a couple hundred who have low credit scores. It's going to be a mixture of people who fit those categories. I hope that helps. I just dismissed a question that I didn't want to dismiss. Okay, that's it. Dismiss that. What day of the week do you recommend mailing the fresh probate list? The second you get it. Guys, don't hold your list because somebody before you is not going to hold theirs. I mean, I could sit here and tell you mail on a Wednesday. If it takes 2-3 days to get the mail on a Wednesday as soon as you get the list in your hand. That way they'll get it on Saturday when they're sitting at home reading their mail. I mean, we could do that, but at the end of the day, you know, your competition, if you have somebody in your area, might mail on Monday. They might wait. You might wait till Monday and they're mailing Wednesday. So, I mean, honestly, guys, I mean, it's just kind of just mail the second you get it in your hands. Seriously. When you say, do we have vacants? Yeah, we can do vacant land, vacant property. Yeah, we can sell you a list of people who we feel are going to be vacant, fitting categories of such people who have different addresses or not homesteaded property, such as absentee owners and stuff like that. But I don't sell vacant properties too much other than the absentee owner list. And how often are they updated in Florida? Oh, and Al Nicoletti is great. Thanks. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, we love Al. Al is awesome. All right, let's see. I know I'm going fast, but this webinar is pre-recorded. So you can go on our YouTube tomorrow and type in Foreclosures Daily, subscribe to it, and you can rewatch this webinar, fast forward it, rewind it. I know I talked real fast in this webinar. Somebody was just asking if there's going to be a recording, and there is. So if you missed anything, or I was going to, and the reason why I go fast, guys, is I try to cram it all in. Like I only have an hour and a half that I'm allowed to speak, but really this talk, I could go on for 2 hours, 3 hours here. Honestly, I could. So I try to cram it all in. So we do have it not pre-recorded. We do offer a replay tomorrow on YouTube. Is it wise to market to reverse mortgage occupants? We actually do sell a reverse mortgage prospect list. It's a list of people who we feel would be a good fit for a reverse mortgage. And it is very good to market to them. And you know, I don't sell a lot of them, so the competition is not huge. Can I send you my letter or let you see the slide again? Well, Joy, if you're a subscriber of Foreclosures Daily, you should have a copy of that letter. In your bonuses that we email out to you as soon as you buy. So if you're a subscriber, email me, Tangie@ForeclosuresDaily.com. It's on this slide. You can take a picture of the screen. It's Tangie@ForeclosuresDaily.com. You can email me tonight or tomorrow, and I'll get that sent over to you if you're a client. Your screen went blank. I'm so sorry. Let me make sure I'm showing my screen. If a relative dies and the house is to be sold by the executor, How do you recommend buying anonymously to avoid issues with other family members? I mean, a lot of people put things in trusts and LLCs, but I'm not the person to ask that question to, Joy. I'm sorry. For the 50% county add-on, are there a time limit for the discount, or can we add anytime during our subscription? Well, the thing is you can add anytime during your subscription. If you're already a subscriber, you can always add counties at 50% off. The first county may get 20 to 25, but if the second county only gets 15, that's fine. We only I'll charge you half for the second anyway. But if you buy a new subscription and you have never been a subscriber before, or you're not an active subscriber now, you can buy by Friday and get a free county. If you are an active subscriber and you want to take advantage of this special, you can renew early or you can add a new subscription. Okay, so those are ways to take advantage of it. What is the difference between your program and a program that's charging another company? Basically, the difference between our company and other companies is our leads are weekly and fresh, and they're all farmed for real estate. I don't know this particular person you're asking about and their leads, Jay, so I'm sorry. But if you're asking about the competition, and we have no competition, just so you know, because we're weekly and fresh and they're all farmed for real estate. Other companies are going to be quarterly and not farming for real estate. And what that means is 300 people will file probate and divorce in 1 week, and maybe only 15 has property. Other companies are going to give you all 300. I'm only going to give you the 15 that had property. You're welcome, Dee. How many competitors sold to Orange County, California? God, I think I have 1 subscriber in Orange, if any. I might have 1, maybe 2, if any at all. Listen, you don't have to worry about competition with these types of leads, I promise you. What about big counties like Cook County, Illinois? Do you list for zip codes? No, we won't do zip codes with these. It's too hard, guys. Let me explain to you why. When we do a probate, we take the first 25 that we come to with real estate and we stop researching. So if we have to research out of 400 leads and we research 340 and we get to our 25, we don't research the other 60 unless you're buying the extras, and you can buy the extras at a discounted rate. So yeah, we are not zip code specific unless it's a la carte leads, like absentee owners, free and clear, tax, like absentee owners, free and clear, distressed homeowners, and investors who own a portfolio of properties, cash buyers. You can do those by zip code, but not the probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, or divorce. You can't do those by zip code. If you purchase a specific lead, am I getting all the benefits you mentioned? Yes, you are getting all the benefits that I mentioned. I don't care if you purchase just 1,000 absentee owners, you're going to get all those bonuses. Do I suggest sending a letter first, then the postcard? You know, I used to only recommend sending handwritten letters. I never recommended postcards ever. But over the years of doing this, I found that postcards work very well. If you use one of the ones that we recommended in the slides earlier, the one with the picture of the house, the ones with the catchy phrases like I can close fast, cash as is, less than 30 days, you know, hey, if you're facing foreclosure, divorce, probate, I can help, you know. If you use things like that, the postcards are actually, honestly, they're working really good these days and they're getting great response rates. I always recommend doing letters as well and kind of mixing it up in our 6-step mailing campaign. What is the best list that provides the most profits? Well, probates, I mean, hands down. I mean, people, especially a lot of these people will have these properties free and clear, guys. Can you imagine working with somebody and they never paid a dime for the property? I mean, these people are taking huge discounts for these property. One guy made $100,000 off of one of his probate houses. Not one guy, several guys, but one guy off the top of my head I can think of last month just made $100 grand off one of his probate properties. But probate and pre-probate, hands down, has the most profits. Instead of a second county free, can we choose a second list? You know, I wish, but I'll tell you what, if you buy multiple lists, like I had a guy call me today, he bought all 6 services for 3 counties and I gave him like $4,000 or $5,000 off. Now, if you want to try pre-probate and divorce in a county, you know, just reach out to me, Clay. I'll put together a nice little package for you, okay? Los Angeles usually has the 25 max a week. They usually hit that every week. And we might have 3 or 4 subscribers in Los Angeles, not a huge amount, maybe 5, who knows? But I wouldn't worry about competition, I'm serious. I don't know about Brooklyn, New York, Kings County, but you know, I'm telling you, we don't have a lot of people in Kings County, one if none. I can tell you that right now. I recognize the names because I see the list every week, you guys. I don't know them off the top of my head. But if it sounds unfamiliar to me, it's because we're not having it running or we just have it running with 1 or 2 people. I am a foreclosure.com subscriber. Is that there? Oh God, yes, absolutely. It's very different than ours. In Florida, our list comes out daily and fresh for foreclosures, list pendants and auctions. And it's ForeclosuresDaily.com, just so you know. We do code violations on a county or city level, whatever we can get our hands on. Just so you know. If you want to know if it's a city level or county level, just ask. I can't answer on here, but I'll have to send an email to the research director. Guys, I think that's narrowing it down. I pretty much answered all the questions so far that came through. If anybody has any more questions, now's the time, because we're going to be closing this webinar in the next, let's say 10 minutes. So if you have any more questions, now is the time. I was asked to go back to a slide though. So let me go back to the postcard slides. These are the postcards that are working really well right now. The ones that have a picture of the actual property. These postcards are usually 99 cents. I got this company that'll do it for 42 cents with postage. This is a letter we recommend. It's a handwritten font that they use, and they literally only charge 64 cents with postage. One from the postcard slide. Oh, these are the companies that we recommend. I have an updated list that I'll give you when you buy the list. You get those bonuses when you buy the leads, just so you know. You go back to the postcards. These are the postcards. We also recommend, I had a lady hold up a postcard the other day, guys, and it was like just a regular white postcard, and she had huge bold writing on there because the list that she was targeting was older people. So she used huge black bold font on that, and she's getting really good response rates with that. Remember, guys, if you buy by Friday, you get a free county. If you're already an existing client with Foreclosures Daily, you can only take advantage of that offer if you renew early or buy a new list source or add on data. And you have to do it on the 6th month of the year. The minimum quantity for the postcards is only 50. And guys, people don't usually do that, but Go Big Printing did that for me. And I have a special code to put on the end of it in order to you to get access to those prices. So you can't just go to Go Big Printing and get access to those prices. They're going to charge you a lot more for these postcards, unless you have my special link. Is there a way to find the best county in a specific state? I mean, for probate, I mean, honestly, it's just preference. I always recommend targeting your area where you live. And if you're doing virtual wholesaling, you know, it's completely up to you. But I always recommend doing your area as well, because there's nothing better than being in your own backyard, especially if you're going to rehab the property. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up if you don't have any more questions. if you guys have any lingering questions, just, you can email me, Tangie at ForeclosuresDaily.com. So Tangie at ForeclosuresDaily.com. You can also text me, 863-698-3550. And this is going to be available tomorrow on YouTube. And if you go to YouTube and type in Foreclosures Daily, you can see all the webinars I've ever done with Foreclosures Daily, of course. And check out the one with Al Nicoletti. That's the attorney that we recommend here in Florida. And he's closing people's pre-probates. He's filing probate and closing them in 5 to 14 days in Florida. And he usually can get his hands on an attorney that does the same thing in other states if you reach out to him. So nobody has any more? Oh, I got a few more questions. We don't have probates in Colorado, like Denver and places like that, like New York, but we can do pre-probates. It's just as good, if not better. You're getting it 1 week after the death. So don't make it a big thing for sure. Yeah, you can absolutely select the type of list you want. Probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, or evictions or divorce. Now, Alyssa, I know you joined late, but you can go to YouTube tomorrow and you can watch this webinar on YouTube tomorrow. Or if you email me, I can forward you a copy of it too. Just go to YouTube, type in Foreclosures Daily, and find the Innovative Investors webinar. You can look now for one of my older ones, or you can wait till tomorrow towards the latter part of the day, and you can get this pre-recorded on tomorrow's YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you guys taking the time out to be on this call tonight. And every month we do a webinar. It's usually the second Tuesday of the month. So we have them scheduled now till next year. We've got some great speakers coming. I usually do mine every 6 months to kind of catch any new people we have in our system. We attend a lot of RIA events. I do a lot of podcasts. I also travel. I'm the main speaker at a lot of the RIA events and beginning groups and stuff like that. So reach out to me if you have any questions, Tangie at ForeclosuresDaily.com. And I hope everybody has a great evening. Can you please, one more question. Can you please explain again about the 25 records? The 25 leads is per week. You never get more than 25 leads a week. Guys, when you work these types of leads, you're going to be working a small group of people, but you will yield a much higher return. I would much rather use 20 to 25 leads a week that have real estate, that are a more targeted list, that's more of a niche list for targeting people who want to sell versus people who don't, for people who have equity, for people who don't. I would much rather work a small list like that than 1,000 people who are going through a worst case scenario, like they're in foreclosures, they're all upside down, nobody wants to sell their property. I mean, if you're like in Florida, we do foreclosures really good, but in the other states, we're not even bothering with them, guys. Probate and pre-probates is where it's at. So is co-violation, eviction, and divorce. It's weekly and fresh, no more than 25 leads per week per county. And the reason there's a cap is we have to know what to charge, but guys, there's usually no more than 25 a week anyway, unless you're in a bigger area like Hillsborough, Pinellas, Broward, Dade, Palm Beach, Los Angeles, areas like that. Harris County, Texas have huge amounts. So like Harris County, Texas gets like 75 to 100 probates a week with real estate. Keep in mind, guys, they may have 300 in 1 week, but maybe only 75 will have property. I can sell those extra ones to you above 25 if you pick a county that has more. I just charge an additional county fee to add the extras and make your cap up to 50 if you happen to even pick a county that has more. I hope that helps. All right, guys. Our offer is pretty much the same here as if you go through here, you wanted to know if the offer's better here or at a RIA group. And at the RIA group, you're not going to get like a free county, you guys. That's just a one-time thing here, okay? So if you want the free county, you have to purchase by Friday, and you have to purchase at least a 6 month or a year, because we want to hold you accountable and get you to make longer commitments so that you can work the list longer, stronger, and harder, which will in turn produce success. And the leads 25 a week are weekly. All right, guys. Have a great evening. Thanks for being on tonight. I appreciate it. We appreciate you at Foreclosures Daily. Have a great evening. Bye.